Hey there, folks. Today we're going to talk about the topic Microsoft Viva. Now, this lesson was actually made as an add on for the full Microsoft MS 900 course, which I made a while back. And since Microsoft Viva is now something new that has been added to the exam, I thought it would be a good idea for me to go and make an additional video, just to go and add on to that course so the guys don't struggle when it comes to the exam. So the content in this video can, however, also be used for other courses. And well, if you just want to know general stuff, if you just want to know what Viva is all about, I suppose this video is also good for that. Now, before we dive into this topic, don't be a weenie, guys. Hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Maybe consider subscribing if you enjoy the content or maybe if you find it useful. Alrighty, with that out of the way, let's dive into Microsoft Viva. So for the folks who are brand new to Microsoft Viva, who have never really heard of it or have no clue yet what it is, I'm sure most of you have already started noticing that everything is going into the cloud these days, and that a lot of stuff is also virtual and remote nowadays. Now, when it comes to Microsoft 365, this is just one of the many tools and platforms out there to our disposal. If you folks watched my full Microsoft MS 900 course, you would know that the Microsoft 365 is a massive platform of a lot of things that you can go and do and all of that. It is just insane. There are so freaking many tools and features and functions and this and that that you've got access to on Microsoft 365. It's just crazy. Now, depending on the subscription you have, of course, you might have access to a lot of stuff, or you might have access to, well, just a few things. Anywho, with that in mind, with people working on so many platforms on Microsoft 365, where Microsoft Viva comes into the picture, it allows us to link all of this together in a nutshell. It basically interlinks and intertwines with just about everything in Microsoft 365. It was designed with 365 in mind. So there is so many things on 365, like I said, and this thing just ties into all of it. Everyone will know everything they need to know, and they will very easily have access to, well, what they need to have access to. Everyone will be able to do whatever it is they need to do, and they will have access to this very, very easily. Here is a small description from Microsoft of what Microsoft Viva is. So yeah, basically Microsoft says Microsoft Viva is an employee experience platform that empowers people and teams to be their best from anywhere. Viva brings together communications, insights, knowledge, learning, and resources within the flow of everyday work and collaboration. Viva is powered by the full breadth and depth of Microsoft 365. So there you have it. It's experienced through Microsoft Teams, in case you guys don't know, and other Microsoft 365 apps that people use every day. The main one where I experience it through is normally via my email and Microsoft Teams, though. So that's, yeah, pretty much what Microsoft says about it. Now, something very important you folks need to be aware of when it comes to Microsoft Viva, it actually consists of 4 modules, which is where some of the confusion comes in for some people. Microsoft Viva consists of Viva Connections, it consists of Viva Insights, it consists of Viva Topics, and it consists of Viva Learning. I've often heard people mention Viva Insights, which is one of the 4 modules here, obviously. And when I listen very closely to what they're saying about it, I can very clearly hear often that they're actually confusing this with Microsoft Viva as a whole. So like I just said, Microsoft Viva consists of 4 modules, of which Viva Insights is in fact just one of the 4 modules. And when I go and listen to what these people are saying, I can hear, no, these people have got insights confused with Viva as in general. Now, I'm not saying this is the case for everyone, but that is often the case. So now you folks know Microsoft Viva consists of 4 modules, which is the 4 that I've just listed for you right here. Each of these 4 modules basically focuses on something else when it comes to helping our users and linking to who or whatever they need. Now, since we've listed 4 modules that Microsoft Viva consists of, let's talk a bit about each of them individually. Starting, of course, with Viva Connections. Looking at the name of this module, you can probably make the guess that it will have something to do with connecting people or things. If you've guessed that, you're pretty much in the ballpark. It was created to keep everyone in a workforce connected to each other. Like I mentioned earlier, we've all seen that currently Microsoft 365 has many capabilities for employee communications and engagement. I mean, we've got SharePoint, Jammer or Jammer, however you want to go and pronounce that, Teams and Stream and. It just gets crazy. So what Viva Connections does is it brings all of these capabilities together into a company branded app in Teams. Yep, you heard correctly, folks. In Microsoft Teams. It's very straightforward and easy to use. Very user friendly is the term I think that is probably applicable here. It kind of has to be though, right? If it's not easy to use, nobody would use it or be able to figure it out. And if they can't use it or figure it out, well, then Microsoft doesn't make money. So yeah, it is very easy to figure out and very easy to use, folks. The Viva Connections is kind of like a gateway to the employee experience. Your users or employees will have access to things like personalized news, they will have access to communications, tasks, people, and resources, and much more. It provides a single curated employee destination that can be configured for specific roles. Roles like, for example, frontline workers. Leaders can communicate and engage their employees. Employees get easy access to tools and resources they need from one place. Sounds too good to be true, right? You and your users can also go play with the free primary components that Viva Connections offers for added functionality. If you don't know them already, they are things like the dashboard. This gives your users a digital toolset. It brings together the tools and resources your users need when enabling quick and easy access whether they are in the office or in the field. It's actually a very cool dashboard, folks. It uses dynamic cards that employees can interact with to do things like, for example, complete simple tasks, such as, let me think, putting in time off requests or, I don't know, just reviewing health checks maybe. The second component is feed. This delivers updates to the right people at the right time with powerful targeting and scheduling capabilities. It's closely integrated with things like Jammer, SharePoint News, and Stream to display personalized and relevant feeds. Basically, what I'm saying is it's going to feel like the platform is spying on you because it's going to give you exactly the feeds you need by, well, keeping an eye on you, aka spying. Okay, but jokes aside, we also have the third component, folks, which is resources. So the whole resources experience enables a way to navigate across platforms if I have to summarize it. The whole idea is for it to provide a familiar navigation structure from the SharePoint app bar and allow users to open sites, pages, news, and more. The more familiar it all is, the quicker people figure it all out, and the more keen they will probably be to, well, use it. Pretty cool stuff, right? Anyway, I think we've spoken enough about Viva Connections. Let's talk a bit about the second module of the Microsoft Viva, which is Viva Insights. If you remember what I said earlier in the video, this is one that folks often confuse with Microsoft Viva as a whole. Alright, so what does Viva Insights do and where does it fit into the picture? Viva Insights provides privacy-protected insights and actionable recommendations that help everyone in the organization work smarter and achieve balance. It works, for example, for individuals, so a person will be able to see things related to them specifically, and this will be private, of course. It works for managers. It will allow managers to see all kinds of useful information about their employees, for example. It also works for organizations in general. This is to help company leaders. Okay, so one of the first things you'll learn about Viva Insights is you get access to this on Microsoft Teams. Yep, very easy, very straightforward. I think considering how much people tend to confuse this thing called Viva Insights with Microsoft Viva as a whole, I think it'll probably be best for me to actually show you this on Teams, how and where you can actually go and find this on Teams. But before we go ahead and do that, we'll get to that in just a couple of moments. Before we go ahead and move on to the third module, of what Microsoft Viva consists of and all that, blah, 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 let me just finish this off. So I mentioned a few moments ago that Viva Insights helps individuals. Let me add that as a bullet point here for us, just to make things easier and quicker. So when it comes to individuals, these insights will provide you or an individual person with insights that only you or they can see. If this individual is, for example, you, the insights will help you identify opportunities to change how you might work so that you can do your best work. I said a lot of use there, didn't I? It will, for example, give you actionable recommendations such as recharging with a quick mental break, if you're into that sort of thing, of course, protecting time for focused work, and mindfully disconnecting after hours to help you improve well-being and boost productivity. Now, what I myself personally like about this, and I can say this will be the same for all of you or any of you, I love that Viva Insights integrates with my email and that it reminds me of certain things that I may or may not have forgotten about. For example, if someone asks me a question in an email and I, never responded to that email, then Viva Insights will actually remind me, very shortly afterwards and say, hey, listen, my bra, did you reply to this question that this person asked you? If I, for example, send an email to someone in which I mention I'm going to do something or give them something, anything in that regard, Viva Insights will once again remind me very shortly afterwards and say, hey, brah, you said you were going to do X, Y, and Z. Did you do this? Maybe I did. Maybe I did not. Now, very often I did actually already do that, but Viva Insights doesn't know that. So it's just going to remind you and say, hey, listen, you said you were going to do this. Did you do this? And then if you did, you just ignore it. If you did not, well, you should probably get to it. Now, since I'm adding bullet points here, let's also add one for managers, since I mentioned insights for managers earlier. All right, so for managers, Viva Insights will, for one, give them much needed visibility into work patterns that might lead to things like burnout and stress. This can, for example, include things like regular after work hours, meeting overload, or just, too little focus time. Where it gets even more interesting is that Viva Insights will provide recommendations to managers. This can be things like, for example, encouraging your team to, turn off notifications, maybe set boundaries in their calendar, and set daily priorities to focus on what matters most. So if you or a manager, for instance, wants people to focus on something specific on a day, you can actually go and set that in Viva Insights. Pretty nifty, right? I also mentioned organizations earlier to you folks. So let's add a third and last bullet point here for that. So with organizations, those insights, like I said earlier, can help company leaders. It can help them address complex challenges and respond to change by shedding light on organizational work patterns and trends. The leaders will, for example, be able to see how their work culture is affecting their organization's resiliency. Now, what should not come as a surprise at this point is the fact that once again, Viva Insights has recommendations available for the leaders. Yeah, I kid you not. Anyway, I did say that I was going to show you folks on Teams where and how you can find Viva Insights. So, switching over, let me show you guys.
A few moments later.
All right, here we are, folks. I am on Microsoft Teams. You will notice, though, that I'm using the web browser version of Teams. In other words, software as a service. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with Microsoft Teams, but there's actually free clients you can go and use. You can use the local desktop client, the one you would go and download and install, on your local machine. Or you can use the web browser version, which is the one I'm using. The web browser version and the local one is for the most part identical. The one is just installed locally, running locally using your resources. The other one, which is the one I've got in front of me, is running somewhere else, installed somewhere else, and it's just being displayed in the browser. Other than that, they're identical. Then you get a third one, which you can actually go and install on mobile devices. You can get it, for example, in Android's Play Store. You can get it in Apple's. What gallery does Apple use? I think they've got an app gallery of some kind. Might be confusing that with Huawei, but it's available on all the platforms. It's available on Android, it's available on Apple, it's available on Huawei's, little Fandora and App Gallery. All of those have it. It's a free app. You can go and download it. You just need to log into your team's environment from your company. Unfortunately, the one on the phone is not 100% the same. That one looks only about 60, maybe 70% the same as the one you would use in your browser and locally. Now, that's besides the point. So if you guys are using the browser version or the local version, it should look something like this. You can, of course, ignore these teams I've got here. These are a couple of fake ones that I've made for some other course I was doing. So ideally, what's going to happen here is we're going to have Viva Insights here on the left on this little panel. At the moment, I've got nothing going on there, so I'm going to have to run a search for it and add it there. You can actually go and pin it there as well, mind you. So at the moment, at this point in time, while I'm making this video, there we've got the Apps tab. Now, why I'm saying it like that is because Microsoft has got this nasty habit of moving stuff around continuously. So depending on when you guys are watching this video, this button here that says Apps may or may not be there. They might have moved it around. The point is you're going to have to go into Apps. You're going to go run a search for it. So I'm going to go click on that little doohickey there. Let us see if I can find it. So I'm going to go run a search here. Let's just type in Viva, what am I looking for? Insights. Viva Insight. It's searching, searching, searching. And presto, behold, it found something. Let's click on that. Give it a sec or so. Let's say open. I'm happy. Click on open. And check it out. It's there. It actually recommends you can go and pin this. At the moment it shows there, but it's not currently pinned. Since I got it, right click on that little doohickey. So I'm right clicking on it. It says pin. I'm gonna pin it. And there you go. So I'm not sure about the browser version, but I know in the local desktop version you can actually drag this. No, it seems like I can't do that in the browser. But in the local desktop version, very often you'll notice you can actually go and click on that, hold your mouse button down, and you can drag it to wherever the heck you want that. Now it seems I cannot do that in the browser version, but just be aware that you can in fact actually go and do that. So I'm going to go click on Viva Insights. So I actually already have it open, mind you. So it shows you all kinds of cool things. You'll find there's a bunch of tabs at the top. Shows you very, very cool things. You can go and do that on your own team's environment, and you can just go and check what capabilities you've got. What you see here is not necessarily everything that it can go and do. My mission was literally just to show you guys how to get it. But if you really go and check it out, you'll see here it says things like stay connected. You can go and praise a couple of your colleagues. So it'll show you people in your company environment on your domain. It's going to probably show you the display pictures. You can go and praise them for certain work they're doing very, very well. Not that anyone actually ever does that. It's a good thing to go and do, but I don't really see people doing that. You can go here to where it says protect time. You can go and block yourself off, from mental health. You can go and block yourself off studying, certain things you want to go and focus on. What I've also noticed here by staying connected is, I don't see it here today, is if you've got emails, those emails I spoke of earlier, where maybe you said you were going to go and do something and you forgot about it, it'll actually remind you here. If someone else said they were going to do something, it'll remind you here to go and get back to them as well. So anything that was said in an email, it's going to pick that up. I don't know how the heck it does it. It kind of feels like it's spying on you. And it'll mention that here to you. It's one of the places it mentions it. It's not the only place. It'll actually send you emails as well from time to time telling you, hey, check out your Viva Insights, and you can actually go and check it, and it's going to tell you what you need to go and do, what you've already done, all that kinds of stuff. So guys, all in all, definitely recommend you go and check it out. Mine is pretty blank at the moment because this is a trial I'm using. It's not my real environment. I don't want to use my real company environment one for this. But if you go and do this in your real company team's environment, if you are allowed to go and do that, of course, you'll find the stuff you're going to see here is way more than what I can see here. With mine being a trial, I'm very limited in what I can actually see here because there's, well, nothing going on. End of the day, you guys at least know now how to go and add it. So go and add that. Just go and add it. Just check what you guys can see there. You'll be surprised to see what you can actually see. Anyway, let's go back to that presentation.
A few moments later.
Alrighty, folks. So now that I've shown you more or less where you can find Viva Insights, let's talk a bit about the third module which Microsoft Viva consists of. That would be Viva Topics. So what Viva Topics does is it focuses on knowledge and expertise. It uses artificial intelligence to identify knowledge and experts and then organizes them into shared topics. Viva Topics helps to address a key business issue in many companies, which is providing information to users when they need it. And let's face it, this is going to happen in pretty much any companies these days. So, for example, when you hire new employees, I think this is probably the best case where you're going to probably see this taking place. So, when you hire new employees, or when even you yourself are a new employee in a company, these new employees, which could be you, have a lot of information they have to learn very quickly. And there's often a lot of terms they will encounter which they have absolutely no clue about. It usually takes the average person or the average employee about a whole month or two to basically find their feet. It's very frustrating. I mean, I know I've started quite a few new companies over my life, and normally when I start a new company, even if I know what I'm doing, I mean, I've got the skills, I've got the certifications and all that. Every company has their own way of doing certain things, their own policies, their own procedures, their own ways of doing things, their own technical terms, and all of that. So even if you are an expert, if you start at a new company, it's going to take some time for you to find your feet. So now when you go and hire new employees, same's going to apply to those folks. So that is where Viva Topics comes into play. It's going to help those newcomers basically find their feet a lot quicker. So what am I saying? Now with Viva Topics, your new employees will be able to find their feet a lot quicker. It brings knowledge to your employees and users. Wherever your users or employees are busy working on something, Viva Topics will create a topic page automatically for whatever it is they're working on. And if they find themselves confused about a specific term or how something works in this company, they literally just have to go to the topics page and it will tell them everything they need to know. It's kind of like having someone right next to you and having the ability to literally just refer to that person saying, hey, do you know what this term means, or do you know how this works, or where I can find this or that. Now in real life, if you're going to go do that with a person, it's going to annoy that person at some point in time, and the chances are you're probably not going to have the luxury of being able to ask a person like that. Now, while you or the users or the employees, they have that luxury. It's just, well, digital and it's automatic, but they can, in fact, go and do that. All right, and that brings us to the fourth module which Microsoft Viva consists of, Viva Learning. So, Viva Learning, folks, is a centralized learning hub in Microsoft Teams that lets you seamlessly integrate learning and building skills into your day. The fact that it has the word learning in the name should already tell you that it has something to do with learning, or at the very least, resources for learning. And Viva Learning, your team can discover, share, recommend, and learn from content libraries provided by both your organization and partners. They will be able to do all of this without leaving Microsoft Teams. How cool and convenient is that? I have to say, Microsoft seems to really be going out of their way to make things as easy and as convenient as possible for their consumers and their customers. So what Viva Learning also does is it allows employees to easily discover informal and formal learning in the flow of work. It, for instance, aggregates content from LinkedIn Learning, Microsoft Learn, internal content of your own, and a whole bunch of other learning platforms. All in all, basically, it taps into all kinds of useful, well-known learning material is what I'm saying here. If any of you folks happen to actually go and test out Viva Learning out for yourselves, you'll see there are three main views in the Viva Learning app. You'll see the view called Home. There you'll be able to discover new content, trending content, and also be able to browse learning content libraries. You will see the view called My Learning. There you'll also have access to recommendations and assignments, as well as courses that you've bookmarked, recently viewed, or completed. Lastly, you'll see the view called Manage. There, you'll be able to track progress on recommendations that you made. Well, folks, that pretty much is what Microsoft Viva is in a nutshell. If you've enjoyed this lesson or if you've learned something, please do me a favor and give the video a like. And if you would like to know when other lessons or courses go live, I don't know, maybe consider subscribing. Before you folks go and disappear on me, just a shout out to the current sponsors of this channel and this video. So they made this video possible. Thank you to the Patreon and PayPal sponsors. There are their names. I also want to thank those of you that clicked on the thanks button below the videos, as well as those of you that have bought me a coffee or a milkshake. If anyone else also wants to sponsor the channel or make a donation, you can find all of that information in the video description down below. Alrighty, I hope all of you do well on your exams. If you have to write any, I will talk to you in the next video.
If you love me, let me know. If you don't, then let me.